Okay, so we're gonna cut some insulation on for the box. So what I usually do is we set it up on here. Now on the Pittsburgh seam, I want the insulation to line up right like that. So I put this insulation on the edge. Now these are actually, the insulation is 47 inches because the ductwork is 48. So I just use by the bottom of my fingers to measure the insulation. And I rotate it as straight as I can. And then we cut it, okay. What we're gonna do is we're gonna be insulating this duct. So here we have a piece of duct. Now, it can be a Pittsburgh seam or a snap block. For this video, we're gonna do Pittsburgh. So we're gonna go ahead and do this. Now, what you need to have is you have a pin spotter right here, and then you're gonna have some insulation glue as well as your pins. Just look like this, okay? And the pins come in different lengths. This one's a 3/4 inch pin. They have 1 inch, 1/2 inch. So these are gonna be 3/4 because of our insulation, which is right here. So this is 3/4 inch insulation, so we're gonna be using 3/4 inch pins. All right, so the first step, what you wanna do is you get your glue and you apply it to the duct. Now I don't try to go on, I don't wanna be in the Pittsburgh seam, and about a 1/2 inch away from the edges are good. We want to keep the glue away from the exterior. So basically that drop right there. We want to keep the exterior of the duct looking clean. And a lot of glue on this one. Okay. So, good example. Now we'll do the other side. There's two different types of glue. One is water-based, which is this one, and then you have the one that's non-water-based that sprays out like Spider-Man's web, man. It's kind of cool shit. But anyways, this one's we're gonna be using. All right, so we got our glue down. Okay, so now what we can do is we're gonna place the insulation in first. That's the next step. So we'll start with the north side. Okay. Now the insulation is 47. The duct length is 48. So when you set it down, get it nice and tight in the corner. So we want it to be, now the seam of the Pittsburgh is gonna go inside here. So it's not a bad idea to pull it away from the edge just a little bit when you set it, okay? So I'm looking here, I wanna be about a 1/2 inch there and a 1/2 inch here. So you can see that one's a little shorter. So we're gonna put those in the middle, okay? Now, we're going to, our insulation's a little bit long, okay? So I'm gonna use this S drive, hold on buddy. I'm gonna use this S drive to cut this back a bit, okay? So you can use the S drive or a knife. So I'm just gonna put my blade right here and follow that Pittsburgh seam down. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and do the tack pins, the 3/4 inch tack pins. The rule is, from the top of this insulation line, you need to be below it 1 3/4 inches, and away from this insulation line, 1 3/4 inches. Should go right there. Same thing up here, 1 3/4 inches. We want to be 11 inches away from each pin. So we can go 11 inches on this one, which is about right there. Okay, now because we can't go 11 inches away here, we'll just go to the edge, the outermost edge. So same thing, 11 inches away, staying 1 3/4 inches away, and then same thing on this corner, 1 3/4 inches, 11, 11, okay? Now we're gonna rotate the duct. We'll do it all over again. Okay. Okay, so now that that's in, we're glued down, insulation's on, the tack pins are on, we can now use the pin spotter Okay, we turn the power on. We adjust the weld time however it needs to be, usually depending on the thickness of the metal. The thicker the metal, the longer the weld time, because it's going to get it hotter and melt the pin more. Well, let's just put it at 20, and let's see how that does. Now, we also have a grounding clamp. Okay. Now, these tables are metal, so as long as you ground the table, the whole table's grounded. Don't be afraid, it won't shock you. So you put it down and make sure, it has a little magnet on there, and sometimes you have to clean that off. But the key is to put it down straight, and put a little bit of pressure on her, and then hold the trigger. Okay? So you saw that went down. You can see the little burn mark right there. Okay? So that's a good burn mark right there. It's a lid, made a little bit of an indent, but yet it didn't burn through. Okay? An example of it burning through, if we turn up the heat. That's what you don't want to see, okay? So I turned that to 50. So 20 was a good time. So we'll leave it at 20 for the rest of this piece of duct. So then you just go to each duct, hold it down, straight. Okay, so that duct is fully tacked in. Now technically, SMACNA code states you're supposed to be able to put your finger in there, pull it one way, pull it the other way, and pull it up, and it shouldn't come out, okay? If you look on the exterior, you can see the little burn marks, right? The one that we did too hot. So this is what you want to see, and inspectors will also look for these to see if it's insulated on the inside. So that is how you do an insulated piece of duct. Ready to rock. One of the things to check for maintenance-wise on the pin spotter is keeping this clean. Get a wire brush and clean that. If it doesn't have good contact to the ground, it won't be able to push electricity through there. Another thing to do too, if you think the gun is bad, as you can see the lights coming on, okay? There's a button here, it's called a test cycle weld. It'll give you an example of what it's like in case there's a short. We had a short before in the wire in the gun, we had to replace it, and the way we diagnosed that was by pushing this button. We knew the machine worked, now we just want to make sure that the gun worked as well, okay? Maintenance is just clean that, making sure the cables aren't frayed, and then just keeping a good clean work environment.